After later they were locked inside a dark warehouse. The warehouse smelled like rust, blood, and smoke. Wine sat on the freezing floor with Sophia asleep in her lap. Her daughter's tiny fingers clutched her dress tightly, even in sleep, like she was afraid her mother would disappear too. Hours had passed, no one came, no sound except distant footsteps and dropping water. The kidnappers purposely kept the room dark. One of the men entered again carrying a chair. He placed it in front of Ryan and sat backwards on it casually. You know, he said mockingly, your husband is disappointing me. Ryan remained silent. He still has not arrived. Her heart clenched. The man smirked. See the flicker in her eyes. Oh, there it is. He leaned closer. You thought the great King Taeyang would storm in for you. Wine tightened her hold around Sophie. He is busy. Busy, the man laughed. You want this little brat or his family? Wine flinched, hearing Sophia insulted. The man noticed immediately. Cruel satisfaction filled his face. Then he dropped several photographs on the floor. Pictures of Taeyang at meetings, entering casinos, walking into the another warehouse, calm, cold, untouched. See, the kidnapper whispered, he's not even looking for you himself. Wine stared at the photos. Her chest slowly cracking apart because deep down a horrible part of her believed it. The kidnapper crouched beside her. Man like Taeyang don't love, he titled his head. You were just forced into him. Every verse stabbed deeper because they were partly true. Wine looked away quickly before tear could fall, but the kidnapper had already seen enough, smiled and left. Some hours later, Sophia woke crying softly, Mama. Wine immediately hugged her. I am here, baby. Sophia's eyes were swollen from crying. Papa coming, Wine froze. The question shattered her. She wanted to lie, wanted to promise everything would be okay, but fear wrapped around her through. Before she could answer, another kidnapper laughed from outside the bars. Your papa forgot you, Sophia. Little face crumbled instantly. No, he does not want either of you. Stop it. Why snap it? The man only grinned. Then where is he? Silence filled the room, heavy, painful. Vian finally broke tears, slipped silently down her face as she rocked her doctor because she wanted him to, even after everything, even after years of coldness, she still wanted him. Meanwhile, the city burned. Chang stood in the middle of a blood-covered warehouse while one of the kidnappers screamed beneath his grip. Where terrored, the man cried in terror. Tae's men exchanged uneasy glances. They had never seen him like before, not uncontrolled, not calculating, animalistic, terrified. Tang slammed the man against the wall again. If my wife or daughter cry because of you again, this voice cracked with the fury, I will erase your entire bloodline. And finally gave the location. They realized him, then shoot him anyway, without hesitation, burn everything. They ordered coldly, and this man obeyed. Back at the warehouse, Ryan sat motionless, emotionally exhausted, defeated. Then suddenly, gunfire exploded outside. Screams echoed everywhere. The kidnappers panicked. A loud explosion shook the building. Fire spread rapidly through the hallways. Heavy footsteps approached. One, two, three. Then the steel door burst open. Taehyung stood there like death itself. Blood covered his hands. Smoke curled around him. Several armed men lay dead behind him, and his eyes immediately searched for only two people. The enemy leader staggered backward. You, a gunshot echoed. The man collapsed instantly. Taeyang didn't even blink. His gaze searched frantically until it landed on Vian and Sophia, and for the first time in 5 years, Vian saw pure fear on his face, real fear. He rushed towards them, when his voice cracked that dropped to his knees in front of them. His shaking hand cupped Sophia's face first, my baby. Sophia stared at him with wide, watery eyes. Che pulled her against his chest too tightly. It looked painful. I'm here, he whispered desperately. The little girl burst into tears. Papa closed his eyes like hearing that single word nearly destroyed him. Then he looked at Ryan. His fingers trembled as he touched her cheek. Are you hurt? Ryan called barely. Bet you came. His expression twisted. You thought I wouldn't? Tears filled her eyes. He immediately pulled both hers and Sophia into his arms like he never wanted to let go again. After that night, everything slowly changed, especially between Tang and Sophia. The girl no longer hid behind Ryan when he entered rooms. Now she followed him everywhere, into his office, into the garden, even during breakfast. Papa, she whined one morning, climbed directly into his lap. Didn't even look surprised anymore. Yes, tie my hair. Why nearly laughed. You trust him with your hair? I trust Papa. And looked strangely proud of that. Then he kissed the top of her head absent-mindedly. The moment was natural and thinking, and Ryan suddenly fell silent because he had never done that to her, not once. Days passed. Time became more softer with Sophia, more open. He read her bedtime stories, let her sit beside him during meetings. The entire mansion noticed the difference. Diane looked at her seriously. More Sophia giggled happily. Vine stood by the doorway, noticed because she had spent years carving even a fraction of that warmth. Silently watching Taeyang kneel beside Sophie, helping her color a picture that sight should have made her happy, and it did, but it hurt too because Tay looked so gentle with Sophia now. Tang studied it seriously like it was expensive work. Artwork, its perfect. Sophia became beamed happily before throwing herself at him. Take out her easily. She had once dreamed of receiving it from him too, but now she watched it belong to someone else, even if that someone was their doctor. She suddenly felt foolish for feeling hurt. But noticed it instantly too polite, too fragile, not real. His expression slowly faded. My turned away before he could read the jealousy in her eyes. A few days later, the Kemp mansion hosted a private dinner party for important Alice Ryan, wearing soft black dress that himself had chosen for her earlier that morning. You will wear this tonight, he had said, simply that alone had made her heart flutter stupidly, because before he never carried what she wore. Now he noticed things, small things. Papa, feed me, one of the older Mafia men laughed loudly. The boss has become soft. Ted didn't even deny it. He calmly fed Sophia another spoonful of cake. It was obvious, visible, open, but nobody would even look at Ryan and think he loves his wife like that too. She suddenly lost her appetite. They noticed Ryan barely late. I'm fine. Jay's eyes lingered on her quietly cornered heart, but Ryan simply stood. Excuse me. She walked away before the tears gathering in her eyes would impress her. That should make her happy, and it did. God, it did. Seeing Sophia finally laughed freely around her father, he let something inside Ryan, but another part of her kept whispering painfully. You left dinner, I know. You cried. Ryan laughed bitterly under her breath. You notice now the words hit him hard. She whispered, "It's just tightening instantly." You smile at her without thinking why, and you kissing her forehead, cry her around, let her cling it to you. Her voice cracked softly, but with me. They looked devastated. Already with me. You always looked afraid. The truth destroyed him because it was real. And wiping her tears quickly, embarrassed. I know she is a whore or a doctor. I know I shouldn't feel jealous.